Pay the tax now while you have the money. I just can't stress how important this is. Talked to a lady today. She's got laid off suddenly. I gotta get that thing in the pool. And we're going through her accounts, and this is a very nice lady. She's taking care of her parents. She sacrificed a lot for her family. Let's just put it this way: single, nice lady, and she didn't have $1 million or anything like that, but she's got a decent amount of money. But she's not very. She's about my age, you know what I'm saying? And we're looking through her portfolio because her portfolio's gonna have to rely, or she got to rely on her portfolio because she's not sure she'll be able to get another job. She doesn't know, and she's got to take care of her folks, and she's kind of stressed. And we're looking at her portfolio, and I'm like, oh, thank the good. She was got about we'll just say $500,000 for simplicity. I think it's a little bit more than 500. 400,000 in a Roth. There's 385 in a Roth, 120 in a brokerage account, and 67 in a 401k. So whatever that is, 550 or something like that. Not a bad amount of money being only 54 years old. But the issue is she's not sure when she's going to be able to get another job, and she doesn't know if another job will let her be flexible enough to be able to take care of her parents like she has to do. So we don't know. But the thing is, everything she has other than $67,000 in 401k is in tax-free, not quite 100% liquid, but liquid account, her Roth, her basis, because she's been just plugging the max every year into a Roth. Let's say 1995, 2025. So we started able to do Roth in 1997. I don't know when she started doing a Roth, but it's like $2,000, then it went to $3,000, whatever it is. So let's just say for simplicity, 5,000 years she's plugged into a Roth, and she's got for 25 years plus 1997, 89, 28 years. So I don't know what that is, but 5 times 28, it's 128,000, 130,000 or something like that as her principal. And that's not bad. So she has access to $128,000 or 130, we'll just say, in a Roth. But she has a brokerage account that's got about 125, 140,000 in there as well. So basically what the plan is to, she can't pull from her 401k without penalty to tax because she's not 55 because she just got laid off. So she needs some money. She got a mortgage. She got a mortgage at 2.88, thank the good Lord. It's actually 2.78, so 2.875. But either way, 2.88 for all that's for the people that are perfectos. That's actually 2.875, Josh. 2.88. She got not much. A little bit of debt in terms of mortgage, but no other debt. Very frugal lady, and she is crushing, kicking ass and taking names. But she needs money. And so we're trying to build this, all right, we need to get you enough money. And she's single, so we don't need to worry necessarily about taking Social Security when she's 67. She might. It depends on what her situation is. But we just need to cover her until she's 62. Why? 2 reasons why. Because then she could take Social Security if she wanted, but then she can also do a reverse mortgage. She got lots of equity in her home. And she's only showing like a 34% probability of success. And I tell people all the time, my probability of success isn't very high either. Why? Because this thing right here, that's the bulk of my net worth, by far the bulk of my net worth. And remember, when you're doing a probability of success, what's it showing? It's saying, what's the likelihood you have liquid investments left over at your death? Not liquid, not net worth, liquid investments. So for this lady, I'm saying we need roughly $55,000 a year. Now that cuts back. She wants to go on vacation, but right now we've got no income coming in, and we just, we don't have any income coming in. So she's gonna have to put back vacations for a little bit, and she's still gonna take care of her parents. And her parents don't live with her. So we say, we need your money market. We need your brokerage account to provide you for the next year or 2 years, right there. 2 years in the money market account. So she'll be 56, basically, 56 by the time that money is probably pretty close to being exhausted. Whether or not her parents are still around, whether or not they still need help, I don't know. At that stage, she might be able to go get a part-time job, maybe get a full-time job. We don't know. But we need to tie you over till you're 62. So we need enough income from your portfolio to tie you over till you're 62. You can take a reverse mortgage, and so you can potentially take Social Security. So we got 8 years we got to cover. 8 years at $55,000 a year. Can we do that? Well, the answer is unequivocally yes. But Josh, reverse mortgage, why doesn't she just downsize? Because what are you going to downsize to? This is what people don't understand. You can't just I pay $3,200 a month for my mortgage. You think I could rent any place for me and my wife for $3,200 in the same neighborhood, anywhere near where I'm at right now? No. What am I going to downsize to? There's no downsizing unless I want to go some other place. So this maybe in the future, this lady might leave the state she's in, the high expense state she's in, move to a lower expensive state. But to go rent an apartment for her? We're talking about. It's like she says I can't get anything for less than $2,500 a month in her place. That's exactly, and it's an apartment. Downsize. People say, "Oh, just downsize." Downsizing, you can't. It's hard to downsize in the same town you're in. If you're going to downsize, you got to move, like out in the hinterlands, to get something cheaper. I don't know why people don't get this. Have you ever looked at the rents in your neighborhood? No. So anyway, so she's going to be living off. Oh boy, what are you chomping on, Chompies? Chompies. She's going to be living off her brokerage account until that's exhausted. If she'll get probably a part-time job, most likely. We don't know, but let's just say she does, at $30,000 a year, all right, just for simplicity. Then she'll live off her Roth. Now, some of the Roth, she'll have access to the principal probably until she's 59 and a half. So she won't pay any taxes and any penalty because she'll be taking the money out of the principal from 56, 57, 58. Then she's 59 and a half. She'll be able to take the whole thing out, whatever she wants, without any penalty or taxes. Now, again, will that be enough to get her through until she's 62 years old? Absolutely. Will that be enough to get her through the rest of her life? Probably not. She probably will have to take a part-time job. She wasn't expecting to get laid off at 54. She thought she'd be able to work until she's 60. But her company does a lot of, just put it this way, no, I don't want to say anything else. It wasn't really a sudden layoff. She kind of had an idea, not much, but kind of had an idea, but there's no forewarning. And hopefully she can get cheap Medicare or at least Obamacare because she don't have any income coming in. But anyway, the point being is the one thing we want to make sure is that when we need the money, that we don't want another 10 to 15%, if not more, going out to Uncle Sam first and foremost and your stupid governor. I'm telling you, you pay the tax while you got the cash flow to pay the tax, so you don't have to pay the tax when you don't have the cash flow to pay it. For every $10,000 you pull out, if you're going to lose $1,500 to taxes, right now it's fine because you got the cash to afford it. But in the future, you might not have the cash flow to afford that. You might be 54 years old, laid off, and you're like, I need that $1,500. But no, I get the first $1,500. I got to go to tax man. I'm telling you, pay the tax while you got the money to pay the tax. I've given example after example of this. People they're laid off, or people when they're sucking down their IRA. They live in a high tax state, so now they got to take out money from their IRA. The first 10 to 15%, if not 20%, goes to Uncle Sam. They're around a 5% tax to their state, and then they're like, so the $100,000 distribution from an IRA, if you're a single person, that's a 22% tax, essentially. You're in the 22% marginal tax bracket. Your probably effective tax rate is 20% there. 80% only, so 20,000 is going right out to Uncle Sam. Then if you live in, Georgia, that's probably not, well, maybe Georgia, but in New Jersey, you might be losing another 5%. You see what I'm saying? And it depends on your state. So now you're down $25,000 on a $100,000 distribution when that's the only money you have. But if you could have paid the tax while you're younger, you get that cleared away. You're done. You don't have to worry about it. People say, yeah, but I'm telling you, you can spreadsheet this until you're blue in the face. I get that. It doesn't matter. Well, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. What matters, though, is when things go south, I get laid off and I need X amount of dollars. And the only place I have for that X amount of dollars is from a pre-tax account. That means I need X amount of dollars plus, because I got to have X amount of dollars, but I need to have enough money to pay the taxes too. And that's when things get dicey, man. Pay the tax while you got the cash flow. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts.